What if food is more than just food? Have you ever eaten something that felt a sudden shift, not just in energy, but in mood, clarity, or even emotion? Maybe it was a piece of fruit, so fresh it seemed to buzz with life, or a home cooked meal that felt like it carried something more than just nutrition, something nourishing in a way that went beyond the physical. I remember having goosebumps when I bit into a mango that was growing in my backyard when I was in Nigeria. I have that taste memory. I have that energetic memory. Have you ever felt that? When it's made with love, for instance, you know it. Why do we always remember the days of grandma cooking for us? Because there was love, her intention to make you happy, to see you well, which would make her happy. Now, contrast that with food um, presented to you as fast food, boxed, sterile, stripped of any real connection. Imagine you walk into a burger joint. A teenager is slapping around your burger on the grill, and when it's ready, it gets thrown onto your plate. It might fill your stomach, but does it feed you? Because food is not just a collection of calories and nutrients. It's a carrier of energy. It's a carrier of vibration and intention. And yet, in the modern world, we have reduced it to a lifeless commodity, a system of mass production, refinement, and chemical intervention. We analyze food in terms of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. But what about its frequency, its coherence, its living intelligence, its correctness? What if the way we grow, prepare, and even speak to food affects its very essence and by extension, ours? Every living thing emits a frequency. We know this from physics. Matter, which is everything in the world, a table, an animal, a window, a tree, is simply energy vibrating at different rates: solid, gas, liquid. The food, our food, is no exception. Living foods, fresh, organic, sun ripened, grown in rich soil, emit higher vibrations, emit higher vibrational frequencies. Processed food, microwaved, chemically altered, stored in plastic, carry lower frequencies. Factory farm meat, where animals live in oppressed, stressful conditions and suffering, carries disruptive, chaotic, anxious, deeply saddened, depressed energy that transfers to the eater. It transfers to us. If I give you a choice, would you ever knowingly choose to consume meat, knowing that it was the animal was sad during its lifetime? I think the answer is obvious there. We might not see these frequencies, but we certainly feel them. Science backs this up with biophoton research, for instance. This is one of the aspects of energy that is in that is a livingness, that gives living things a livingness, including our food. And this biophoton research shows that raw, unprocessed food emits ultra weak light signals. Biophotons is basically light at the smallest particle that function as communication pathways. These biophotons are thought to play a role in coherence and signaling. I'll explain coherence in a second, within biological systems. It's like a car that takes you from one place to another. A biophoton goes from one cell to another, communicating information about all the cells in your body. The more biophoton energy a food holds, or the more completeness of the biophoton energy in the food, the more it supports order and efficiency within your body's cells when we consume that food. So coherence in biology is like a perfectly synchronized orchestra. Imagine every cell in your body as a musician, each playing its part. When there's coherence, the music flows effortlessly. Every note is in tune, every rhythm aligned, creating harmony to the listener. But when coherence is lost, when communication between cells is disrupted, like an orchestra where musicians are out of sync, playing at different tempos, that creates noise instead of music. Biophotons act like the conductor of this orchestra, sending ultra-weak light signals that helps cells stay in rhythm, ensuring that the biological processes run smoothly and efficiently and are harmoniously like a symphony. But when food is industrially farmed, chemically preserved, or ultra-processed, its biophotonic energy collapses or disappears, turning it into something that may look the same, a tomato versus a tomato grown well versus a tomato not grown well, but the one that's not grown well carries no or little life force. This raises an important question. Are we eating food that energizes us or food that pulls us into stagnation? So now let's talk about the spiritual and energetic intelligence of food. Across cultures and traditions, food has long been viewed as something more than fuel. In Sufi or Islamic teachings and writings, food is not just nourishment for the body, it's an instrument for spiritual refinement. Ancient wisdom tells us that plants, like humans, respond to intention, environment, the environment, and care. Rudolf Steiner's biodynamic farming philosophy holds that food carries an energetic imprint from the soil, the hands that tend it, and even the cosmic cycle in which it grows. And then there's prayer, gratitude, and spoken word. There's a Japanese scientist by the name of Masaru Emoto. He showed that water crystals change. It's very popular, a lot of people know about this. He showed that water crystals change structure based on the words spoken to them. So positive or affirming words create harmonic structured forms of the crystal, of the water crystal, while negative words lead to a chaotic or a fragmented shape. Now consider this, food does contain water. If water is so profoundly affected by words, what happens when we bless our food? When we say words of love, gratitude, or affirmation before consuming it? What happens when food is prepared with care versus when it is produced in an environment of stress, pollution, and industrial indifference? Maybe this is why food made with love by our grandmothers or a friend or a farmer who truly respects the land tastes different. Not just in flavor, but in something we just can't quite name. Because food isn't just carrying nutrients, it's carrying energy. So now let's discuss the collapse of frequency in modern food. If food holds energy, what happens when we strip it of its natural rhythms? Modern food systems have done just that in terms of soil depletion. Pesticides, monoculture farming, and synthetic fertilizers have destroyed the microbial life that once charged plants with a full spectrum of minerals and enzymes. Genetic modification is rampant. Crops are engineered for yield, pest resistance, and shelf life, but not for nutritional vibrancy. Processing and preservation techniques like high heat and chemical additives and artificial flavors create food that is biologically dead. And then there's the factory farmed meat, where the animals are raised in these, they're called CAFOs, concentrated animal feedlots or operations. Animals raised in these animals are raised in stress, and their suffering accumulates stress hormones in their tissues, which remain energetically present even after cooking it. The result, food that might technically contain nutrients but lacks the energetic intelligence to deliver those nutrients effectively to us with coherence. So, how do we go about restoring the hidden frequencies of food? If food is more than just physical sustenance, how do we restore its higher intelligence? The answer isn't just in what we eat, it's in how we engage with food. You want to look for and consume food grown in harmony with earth. Biodynamic, regenerative, and small-scale farming practices retain vibrational richness of food. Bless your food, whether through a simple prayer, gratitude, an intention. Acknowledge the energy you are about to consume and put into your body. Prepare food with presence. The way we cook, the care, the environment, the attention that we pay to it shapes the food's energetic properties. When our grandmas prepped food, they were always smiling, wishing the best for us. Never in a hurry, always forgiving. Think about it. Remember? It showed up in our food and it showed up in us. Avoid food stripped of their natural rhythms. Eat seasonally. Minimize ultra-processed food and seek whole, alive, and unaltered ingredients. Expose food to the natural elements, sunlight, fresh air, and natural water, preferably from streams. These sources can help retain food's coherence and vibrational integrity. Because food is not just here to sustain us, it is here to elevate us. So, a final thought: are we eating for the body or for the soul? Well, it's both. In an age where food has been industrialized, sterilized, and manipulated for profit, we must ask ourselves, are we eating food that truly feeds us, or are we consuming something that merely fills space in our stomachs, stripped of its original intelligence, unable to give us what we truly need? Because food isn't just physical, it's information. It's carrying something far beyond material. And the moment we remember this, we stop seeing food as just something to put on a plate. We start seeing it as a relationship between earth and human, between energy and body, between nourishment and consciousness itself. It's cosmic.